Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome the members of council, staff, and members of the public to our May 12th council meeting and call this meeting to order. I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson for the roll call, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Clark.
Present.
Councillor Hyatt.
Present.
Councillor O'Hara.
Present.
Councillor Patel.
Present.
Councillor Welsh. Present. Deputy Mayor Field.
Present.
Mayor Loosely.
Present.
We have a quorum, Your Worship.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson for the Indigenous land acknowledgement, please.
We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabeg. The town of Petrolia is located on land associated with the Huron Tract Treaty number 29 of 1827. We express gratitude for the land where we live, work, and play, and we are committed to working respectfully with the land and the Indigenous peoples who have called this land home.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. At this time, I'd like to request that council declare a conflict of interest now or at the appropriate time.
And Your Worship, I do have a filing from Deputy Mayor Field regarding Lambton sanitation, finance items, item 14.
Okay, thank you. And just to finish and to ask council to complete the necessary paperwork. Next, item number 6 is the adoption of the agenda before you. There is a motion in front of you. I'd like to ask for a mover and a seconder. Put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. Any discussion regarding the agenda before you? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to the adoption of our regular council meeting held on April the 14th. You have a proposed motion in front of you. I'd ask for a move and a seconder. Put that on the table for consideration. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Patel. Any discussion, errors, or omissions regarding those minutes? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to the adoption of the council education session held on April the 14th as well. Again, you have a motion and the minutes. Council has copies. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Clark. Any discussion regarding those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That carries. That'll take us to our moment of reflection. I'll ask everyone to please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. That'll take us to the council roundtable announcements, and I rotate the order as council is aware. Tonight, we're going to start with Councillor Welsh, please, is first.
Don't have anything to report, just that I'm very excited about the market opening. And if you're looking to buy Canadian, you won't find any more Canadian than the local stuff there.
Great. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Field.
Thank you. Through you. I attended Operation Clean Sweep 2 weekends ago, and just really want to commend the volunteers that came out, the business owners that were cleaning up in front of their businesses. It was just it was a good day for Petrolia. Took a lot of pride in it. We cleaned a few parks and met a few new people, so it was a very good day. So, and I also had the market down, but I'm looking forward to getting back there. So,
thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. We'll go to Councillor Clark.
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hyatt.
Just share congratulations to the Youth Advisory Committee that had Yes Summit 2.0 on Saturday. It was a pretty small crew of attendees, but all well engaged in the activities that were planned. So congratulations to the organizers.
It was good. Thank you. Councillor Patel.
Thank you. Through you. Ditto with the market and the youth advisory. Of course, thrilled with the nice weather. Was able to participate in the Lions Fish Fry, which was very delicious. Was able to sneak in last minute and get tickets. So they're very accommodating and extremely well organized, well attended, and I hope that your results show when you were done. So just great time with the colors in Petrolia and seeing everyone celebrating the spring.
Thank you, Councillor Patel. Councillor O'Hara.
I have nothing.
Well, I have a few items. I attended the Lambton County Committee of the Whole meeting on April 16th and will continue to keep council informed. I also attended the Doctors' Day celebration breakfast on Thursday, April 24th at the Central Lambton Family Health Team building. I presented a certificate on behalf of council and staff to the board chairperson, doctors, nurses, and support staff for their contribution and service to the town of Petrolia and surrounding area. It was a good event with a great turnout. I attended the Lambton County Council meeting held on Wednesday, May 7th, and as usual, will keep council informed. Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO Treasurer, Mrs. Mandy Pearson, Director of Legislative Services, Deputy Operations Clerk, and I attended the Blue Water Power shareholders meeting on Thursday, May the 8th at their administration building. We were given more good news and an additional $13,000 more than our budget number. And that's the second year in a row we've actually received more money than we expected. That was a very worthwhile meeting and a good lunch. I also brought greetings on behalf of staff and council to the Youth Engagement Summit, as Councillor Hyatt said. And again, I brought greetings on behalf of council and staff. Mr. Rick Charlebois, CEO Treasurer, and Councillor Chad Hyatt were there as well. I'd also like to inform everyone of the Provincial Day of Action on Litter to take place tomorrow, May 13th, and ask the community to take part in helping to keep Petrolia and the province of Ontario clean. I would also like to finish by thanking Deputy Mayor Field for filling in for me over the last few weeks. Thank you. And I want to finish to ask the people in the community to buy local if possible and Canadian. Thank you. That's all I have. That'll take us now to the correspondence. We have items A to J. I'll ask for a motion from council, and if council wishes to pull one out, we can do that. But I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Clark. Any discussion? Councillor Welsh.
Plus that we remove item C for a separate resolution.
Okay, do you want to, we'll do that, deal with that separately. Okay, anything else? I keep forgetting. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that's for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file correspondence items 10A through J, excluding C.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Councillor Welch will go to C. Go ahead.
I would like to move that we acknowledge to all of these municipalities that we have received these letters and support for them.
Okay, I'll need a seconder for that. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. Any discussion? As council knows, and for those present, there was a number of municipalities that received strong mayor's powers. Right now, I do have strong mayor's powers, and I will consider what I'm going to do at a later date, but I will not, I'm not going to make any change or decision at this time. So I think for that motion, I'm going to ask for a recorded vote, please.
So per our recorded vote procedures, the mover will go second last, the mayor will vote last, and we do go in alphabetical order. So when I request the councillor's name, please advise for or against. Councillor Clark.
For.
Councillor Hyatt.
Four.
Councillor O'Hara.
Four.
Councillor Patel.
For.
Deputy Mayor Field.
For.
Councillor Welsh.
Or
Mayor Loosely.
Against.
That is 86%. That motion does carry.
Okay, thank you.
Item 11A, Petrolia Legion's correspondence for the noise
Okay,
bylaw.
thank you. Okay, so we do have for consideration and a motion, we have the Petrolia Legion request for exemption to the noise bylaw. Would someone like to speak to that? Counselor Hyatt.
Thank you. Through you, I'll just make the motion here that we grant permission for the noise bylaw exemption to the Petrolia Legion on September 27th per their request.
Okay, thank you. I'll need a seconder for that.
Second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us now to, we have delegation and presentation. First, we have Mr. Kelly Humphreys, Petrolia Enniskillen Cultural Society, about the ATV race. And I wondered if Mr. Humphreys, you'd like to come forward to speak to that, please? And for the record, please state your full name and your address, please.
Full name's Kelly Humphrey, 1380 Oakdale Road, Lawrence. I am a member, past president of the Petrolia and Enniskillen Fair Board, and I'm here to ask you for an exemption of your ATV bylaw on July 12th of this year. The Fair Board would like to hold a side-by-side four-wheeler rally. We'd be going to different, nothing in town except for the park for our fairgrounds, but we'd be going to different spots throughout the county and ending up back here at the fairgrounds also. The roads that I'm considering using would only be Tile Yard, Glenview Road, Dufferin, Albany Street, and Center, or if you would rather, Garfield, Petrolia Line, Tank Street.
So this isn't just going from Petrolia out of town?
This would be going from Petrolia. I would be going from the fairgrounds to Brigden, and for that, it would be leaving the fairgrounds on Dufferin to Glenview, Talyard out. And then when they circle around and come back at the end of the day, they would be coming in those other streets
Okay.
because they'd be coming from Wyoming afterwards.
And right now, we have a bylaw that does not allow ATVs within the town.
Right.
So you're asking for an exemption to the bylaw.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll open it up to council. Councillor Clark.
What's the leaving town and the returning to town times?
Okay, can you answer that, please?
It would be approximately leaving town at 10 o'clock in the morning and would be back in town anywhere between 4, or I'll say 3:30 and 4:30.
Thank you. Is that okay, Councillor Clark? Deputy Mayor Field.
Yeah, through you.
Okay.
I guess my question, and maybe one of the staff can answer it. I believe a few years ago when we opted into banning ATVs on our roadways, it was a one-time option in or option out. So I'm just wondering the logistics around us actually doing this, or do we have the right to do it?
Can you speak to that, Mrs. Pearson?
Certainly, if you wish, your worship.
Yeah.
You are correct, Deputy Mayor. In 2021, I believe was the year, there was a presentation for ORV and ATV use on municipal roads under the Highway Traffic Act within municipally owned property and municipal roads under the Highway Traffic Act. So all roads are considered highways, just for clarification. The town of Petrolia in whole opted that we were not going to pass a bylaw that allowed that. We do not allow ORVs or ATVs to operate in this manner in the town of Petrolia or on Petrolia owned property. So like Bridgeview Park or something to that nature.
Okay, thank you. But Enniskillen, there is no bylaw in Enniskillen. Is that allowed in Enniskillen?
I truly can't speak if Enniskillen allows for them or not. It would have to be a question of their clerk and staff there.
Your worship, I wasn't putting the cart before the horse. I came to you guys first
That day?
because if you guys say no, there's no sense in me going to everybody else. So that's why I came to you first.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wells.
So through you again, perhaps for staff. So this is part of the Highway Traffic Act, then that's not even something we can approve.
That's a good point. It is part of the Highway Traffic Act. That's my understanding. Can you speak to that, Mrs. Pearson, or?
Not in whole. I know we had the option to permit them or not permit them, and the town opted to not permit. So the enforcement would be through the Highway Traffic Act.
Right. Counselor Hyatt first, it'll come to Counselor Clark. Go ahead, Counselor Hyatt.
So is it possible for a special event like a parade that they drive ATVs on the road? How does that?
We can do that. I think that's okay if it's a parade. That's just on a parade route. But I think that's a little different situation than going down a number of different streets, leaving and coming back. When you come back, you can't just come back and make it simple to go down one road and
We
stay
can
up.
definitely, if yous would be fine with us using Center Street and coming straight through to Dufferin and then over to our fairgrounds afterwards, that's fine. I was leaving that part up to use. I figured the easiest way for coming out of town was the Tyler Glenview and Dufferin, and then I didn't know which way, whether it would be the Albany and Center or the Greenfield, Petrolia and Tank Street. I didn't know which one you would prefer. It'd be one or the other of those two.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Clark.
If I'm not mistaken, we have like a large group of people downtown July 12th, right? Out in the park.
Yes. Counselor Patel.
So 2 questions if I can through you. How many participants are we?
At other
Ballpark?
events, they have seen 40 to 50 machines.
And my second question is through you, how would the route be regulated and distributed to all those participants?
I would be handing out everybody guidelines with maps to say this is the only way in, only way out, and I can put people at the different intersections to make sure that they don't go any other way.
So this is like a poker run, or it's not a race, or is it a race?
It's not a race, no, and it can't be a poker run.
Okay.
I've already had this conversation. It cannot be a poker run.
Okay,
It is a rally.
okay. Deputy Mayor Field.
Yeah, through you. How do the participants get to the fairgrounds on side-by-sides? Are they driving them into town?
Some
Or are
would-
they loading them on trailers?
at some events that I can only say what happens at other events, some come on trailers and some do ride them into town. Yes.
And so my only concern would be, is that we're opening up the streets of Petrolia to everybody coming in, attending. You're going to hand out this stuff, and I know you're going to do your due diligence once you give it to them, but they're all going to arrive there somehow. They're going to get there. And are we opening ourselves up for issues?
It's a good point.
I just think there's too much going on that, and between this building and Art in the Park and the barn dance, we're going to have a ton of people downtown already. I think
Okay.
we're opening ourselves up to a potential issue.
Good point. Thank you, Counselor Clark. I'm going to ask council for direction. I'll need a motion. Which council's wishes?
Question
Oop,
through you.
okay.
Is that the only weekend that's an option available or?
No, that's just a weekend that we picked. If there would be a better weekend, I am definitely open to that.
And how long of a timeline do you need to organize?
I would need at least a month and a half to get it organized.
Counselor Hyatt.
I'll make a motion that we ask staff to report back on the impact of this side-by-side event for the request and bring back a report to us next council meeting with some possible date options and whether or not it's feasible. So that would be two-week delay until you make a decision,
That
but
would be fine.
sounds like it would still possibly work.
Yep.
I'll need a seconder for that motion, seconded by Counselor Clark.
Yep.
So I'll ask the clerk, if you could put something together, or you've got a motion there,
do.
please? If you can read that.
So moved by Counselor Hyatt, seconded by Counselor Clark. That the council of the corporation of the town of Petrolia direct staff to report back on the impact of ATV races on town streets per the P's request to our May 26th council meeting.
Any discussion from council? So everyone's clear?
Your Honor,
Oh, just a sec. Okay, Council Patel, hang on. Okay, go ahead.
I would like something special. This is not a race. And he had said race.
Okay.
And I'd like to note also, I read the instruction of council.
Oh, yeah. No,
Thank you.
We'll make that change, but thank you for that.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have enough
Good catch.
information to make it in advance, so.
Okay, Councillor Patel, was that your question or?
That was also
Oh.
my comment through you.
Okay, I'm going to ask the
to
clerk to
amend
read
that.
that motion again, please.
And that is for the council of town of Petrolia to direct staff to prepare a report back on the impact of an ATV rally on town streets per the P's request to our May 26th council meeting.
Any further discussion from council? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you for coming to address council.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a presentation from the Lambton OPP Detachment Board. I'd like to ask Mr. Nemchek to come forward, I guess, please. And again, for the record, state your full name and address, please.
Evening, everyone. I'm Greg Nemchek. My address is 548 First Ave in Petrolia. And thank you very much for allowing the police board to come and present to you this evening. You have the slide deck in front of you. I think that's been given to you. I will be going through it quite quickly as Inspector Avery will also be coming up to do part. So if we look at the Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board, we're serving 9 communities, a total population of 52,294. And we have a headquarters in Petrolia, a community policing office in Forest, 3 reporting locations is in Petrolia, St. Clair, and Grand Bend. And you'll look at the other slide, it has a Point Edward Police Board and Sarnia Police Services Board also. You can go to the, I don't know, yep, keep going. Thank you. Yep, continue. And if we look at the structure of the Lambton Group, we have 10 voting members. The Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board represents 9 member municipalities contracted with the province for municipal policing services by the Ontario Police, Provincial Police. So that has increased in the last couple of years to include all municipalities and a member from each one, which I feel is really, really good with regards to our board. It allows the municipalities to have their say in some of the policing situations that we talk about. So the members of the municipalities may choose under Section 33 to appoint an elected official to the detachment board with the understanding that elected official is not sitting on an elected official, but rather appointed as a member representing one or more of the municipalities from the community and not political perspectives. So if you look at the side, you've got myself as chair, if you just keep going with the slide. John McCharles is vice chair. We have Shirley Durrance is a member of provincial rep, and also John McCharles is also provincial rep. And then we have a number of people there. Councillor Field is our member of municipality for Petrolia, and we have Mandy Pearson, who keeps us all in line and does an amazing job. We're very, very appreciative of Mandy being on the police board. 4 non-voting members: Inspector Chris Avery, who is sitting to the left of me, Detachment Commander, Staff Sergeant Eric Van Roboys, and Staff Sergeant Jordan Yancey, and again, Mandy. So I'm going to fly through some of these slides because you do have them in front of you, but detachment boards and policing services boards. So it goes over the scope and oversight of the detachment boards and the police services boards. So we oversee OPP detachment serving municipalities of First Nations, establish local policies with detachment commander, provide annual reports to municipalities and band council, representative from all municipalities and First Nations. So the police services board focus on individual policing services, develop policies and municipal police services, prepare and publish strategic plans and annual reports, and municipal appointees and provincial representatives. If you go to the next slide, you'll see one of our K9 officers, and they are a huge integral part of our OPP that allow us to do many things, such as drug searches, finding people, and the K9 unit is very, very strong and important. So some of the notable changes that have included in Section 10, the contracts repealed, Section 17, 22, and 14 agreements OPP Detachment Board, focus on First Nations, changes to the Code of Conduct, new reporting requirements, and update standards and training. So if we go right to the next slide, which is our population, if you continue on. Again, this is the detachment. This picture is the detachment on 4224 Oil Heritage Road in Petrolia. This is an admin center for the county. It's where the command staff reports to along with the bulk of detachment admin clerk. Operational platoon work from the site as lockup facilities, breath tests, and fingerprinting abilities here. Approximately 100 uniform members assigned to Lambton County, and there are again 3 other reporting age areas of Grand Bend, Corunna, and Point Edward. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see the center that's in Forest, and it's attached to the EMS building. Again, it's an area that the officers can go and work out of that station instead of coming all the way back to Petrolia. So it's a good area that they can work out of, do paperwork and different things there. So that's a picture of that. The next slide is very important if you look at the pie graph down at the bottom. So it'll come up as you go along. This gives our population a density with the largest population of St. Clair, Lambton Shores, Plimpton, Wyoming, and the largest area to cover is Dawn, Euphemia, Brook, and Alvinston and Enniskillen. If you look at the town of Petrolia, it's the orange, which is 11% of the population that's covered. So if you flip to the next slide, this is the members' municipality expense shares. So if you look at the town of Petrolia, it's at 1209%, and those gives you the different percentages as you go through. Municipal of Lambton Shores being the largest at 29.63. Next slide, please. So the call for service, OPP service delivery. This is an integrated service delivery. Detachments provide policing services to municipalities while continuing to meet provincial policing commitments. All officer activity is tracked using daily activity reporting system to ensure accurate municipal billing, and the benefits of municipalities enhance flexibility, economics to scale, share costs of supervisor administrative infrastructure, and the other 2 points there. So if you flip over to the next slide, this is a very important one also because it shows that with this $497 million that is under the billing model, calls for service is 208 million, base service costs 236, and other costs of 53. If you look over to the right side of that slide, the OPP value for dollar, a municipality OPP policed pays approximately 399 per household. And if you look at a community municipal police pays approximately 900 per household. So it's a savings rate for the taxpayer of $501, which benefits per household. If you flip to the next one, there's a lot of numbers there that you can read, but on the right-hand side, it's important that $2 million received from provincial to help the municipalities offset the costs in 2025. That $2 million was presented and given to the different municipalities. In the future, we have requested as a Lambton Group Police Board that continues, that the province will give money to the municipalities to help offset the cost of what's happening. I believe your municipality should have put a motion through to do that also, which we really appreciate. So if you turn to kind of the next one on the right side, if you look at the right side, keep it going. Yep, thank you very much. So why the increase? Ratified collective agreements after several years of zero increases, more officers keeping the province well patrolled and safe. With more officers, there is additional training, vehicles, and equipment. We're very fortunate to have the number of officers that we have at the Lambton Group that keeps us as safe as possible. And I think we do live in a very safe community. Number one reason is the implementation of the recommendations in response to the Governor General's audit report, which there is a link on the bottom of that slide that you could click on to look at that report. We're going to flip we'll go to the next slide. So at this time, I would ask that Inspector Avery would come up and present his
Thank you, Mr. Nemchak. And you should state your full name and address too, I guess, please. for the record.
The attachment address will do fine.
Okay.
I'm Inspector Chris Avery, Lambton OPP. My address is 4224 Oil Heritage Road, beautiful downtown Petrolia. Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. Mr. Nemchuk has run you through some of the structure of our board. I've got the privilege of talking a little bit about the grants that we use for funding, some of the programs that we run. And I know that you have a whole bunch of stats in front of you. I don't plan on going through that whole slide deck. If there's something in there that's caught your interest and you want to talk about it, that's good. I have brought some highlights that I think are important to tell you about. And at the end of me talking about the grants and my local points of interest, if there's any questions that anyone has, I'll gladly talk about anything that you have. So we have the ability to apply with our municipal partners and with the county to the government for grant funding. And these are some of the programs that we run with that grant funding. And I want to talk a little bit about them because I think they're really important. Project Vulnerable is our mobile crisis response team. Used to be known as MHART. And I'll probably slip, and instead of calling it MCERT, I'll call it MHART because it was MHART when it started, but they got around to changing the name and I'm stuck with the old one. But in any event, we are fortunate to have partnered with the Canadian Mental Health Association, and we have their practitioners that ride with our members to respond to mental health crisis calls. If someone is feeling suicidal or having a bad day, we can respond to them and have a mental health practitioner that has the ability to deal with someone in a mental health crisis. Although we have some training, I think that sometimes people are happier to speak with a mental health worker than they are to speak with the police, which is understandable. So it provides a good service to the community in that regard. We can make it that person is trained and can better make a decision whether or not someone should be apprehended and taken to the hospital for a medical examination, or if they can help them through the crisis and provide resources and then conduct follow-up maybe in the coming days and just be a good support. So I think in that way, it helps the community. What we're seeing from a policing standpoint is that if we do have to apprehend someone and we end up at the hospital, we were 6-hour wait time with our members without a clinician with us. Initially, we had used only registered nurses to run this program, and they had a computer on board in the car. And while we were transporting someone to the hospital, excuse me, they were doing the paperwork and getting in things ready for the PAN nurse before they arrived. And the assessment will go much more quickly. And we were seeing wait times of under 90 minutes compared to 6 hours. I think that's substantial. And it keeps police officers out on the road doing policing things rather than sitting in the hospital. Not that that's not important, but if we can be freed up, that certainly, I think, is a plus. We have applied for an additional grant to keep this program running, and my goal is to try and get it so we have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week coverage. We don't have quite enough funding and quite enough practitioners for that at the present moment, but that is our aim. We're hoping that that's going to move forward. Project 1 and 3, I find, is something that many people don't know about. And it's a pre-charge youth diversion program in a sexual assault offenses. And I apologize every time I do one of these presentations when I say it's for young offenders with a minor sexual assault. Not that I think that there's anything minor about any sexual assault, but it would be a touching offense and like a first offense, someone that has no criminal record, and the victim is agreeable to go through this process. And there's an educational component, and hopefully we're able to be able to get information to that person and make an impact so that we don't see repeat offenses and the victim feels validated, and there are some consequences, but probably maybe not as severe as going through the court process. That funding is also tied into a domestic abuse coordinator that we have within the detachment that reviews every domestic violence offense that comes through, and helps the NCOs supervise those and takes the burden off of our major crime unit. For those of you who don't know, the Community Safety Wellbeing Plan or Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee have heard information that that a domestic violence epidemic has been declared in Lambton County. So I'm going to speak a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes, but we are actively monitoring and investigating those calls to make sure that people can stay as safe in the community as we possibly can. The other grant that you have in front of you is the impaired driving, the RIDE grant. Generally, that runs around December, around Christmas time, when, of course, there's lots of celebration and there's drinking and driving. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But we do rides, not to say that we don't do rides all through the year. We do, I've asked, and our members have been doing at least 2 rides per shift. And unfortunately, they're being very productive, I'm sad to report. But that grant is specifically around the festive season, and it runs in December and into early January. And it puts more members out on the road in addition to the regular people that we have on shift answering calls for service. It sends people out to specifically run ride programs. So those are some of the grants that we run, and I think they're the important ones for you to know about. Some of the local points of interest I brought for you for Lambton County and for the municipality is impaired driving that I just spoke about a minute ago with the ride grants. So we're seeing a lot of impaired drivers. It's really quite discouraging with all of the enforcement that we've had over the years and all the education that seems to go into it. We're seeing a lot of impaired drivers, and we're seeing many high readings, and I'm talking about alcohol. A couple of weeks ago, I was not working, and I ended up at a crash on the 402 where a dad had crashed the car, destroyed the car, and had a toddler in the back seat, fortunately strapped in well, and that person blew just under 200 milligrams. Remembering the legal limit is 80. We also had 2 weeks ago someone that blew just under 300 on 2 occasions. So we're seeing lots of alcohol use. Of course, that's the easiest for us to identify and scan because we have devices for that. Although there was somebody arrested today for impaired by drug. So we're seeing people that are using substances and are driving. So I've asked the Police Services Board, and we discuss this generally every meeting that we have, trying to get the message out. When we come to the municipalities, we're trying to get the message out to encourage people not to drink and drive. There certainly are huge liability, both monetary and socially, and there's certainly a great risk for people to be hurt. Moving on, we've done something unique in Lambton that I'm pretty excited about. We've been asked to bring this forward to the Bank of Canada and some of their investigators, but we have started a pilot fraud project. Overall, frauds are up in Canada up to 638 million in 2024 versus 578 million in 2023. Well, a lot of people go, oh, frauds. I've heard some say, well, it's really kind of a victimless crime because it's just money and it's paper and it moves. But we've been seeing a lot of people that have been impacted in so many more ways than finances, because generally it can be a romance scam for lonely people or older people that might not be tech savvy, that might be easily confused by someone that is very quick talking. I've seen people that I know that have had a farm that's bought and paid for and being very lonely because a spouse has passed away, and they tied up with someone they've never met on the internet and remortgaged the farm and sent money to these people. And there's we really need to do education with that and be on the front end. Sometimes people won't like to listen to family members that are talking about this, because really they've found the love of their life. I know I got a call, we were at a meeting similar to this, from someone that I've known for years, and he was convinced that his daughter had been arrested and he needed me to help him through the bail process. And I said, no, I said, hold the presses, I'll be there within 10 minutes. And before I got there, he had given his Visa card to these people. So fortunately, we were able to call the bank and get that all stopped, but it's nothing to be ashamed of. And it's something that these people are pretty good at, and they can trick people. But anyway, so what we have done is we've got this pilot fraud project running. We're fortunate to have somebody at Lambton that is a cryptocurrency expert. He likes frauds. He's incredibly tech savvy. I've got to get him to sit down and show me some things, because what he can do with computer is incredible. But he has made contact with local banks and given them his number. And if someone comes in and they're going to withdraw, the bank people can recognize when there's something suspicious happening. But they have no control over, of course, the person's money. If I want to withdraw $30,000 and it's in my bank account, you can't stop that. They would have to do that. But if they recognize one of those occurrences, they can refer that client to our officer, who can meet with them and discuss with them, and just to give them a sense of security, to make sure that the people that you're dealing with are legitimate. And since we have started this since the beginning of the year, I think it was maybe the very end of December, we saved $160,000 for residents in Lambton County up until mid last month. And I know that there's been a couple more since then, but that's the number that I do know is 160,000. He's expecting by the end of the year, if the trend keeps up, we're going to save people in the county around $600,000 that is not going to fraud people. So while the banks have heard about this, it looks like they would like to try and introduce this program, and it might go Canada-wide, which I thought was pretty exciting. So started here in Petrolia. So I think we're making good progress on that, and I think that's very worthwhile, and it doesn't cost any money because it's one of our people that works for us. And we have him mentoring several other people that are trying to get them interested so that we can have a little army of them that can prevent this from happening. I know a friend of mine, one more story on this, because his mom, again, was lonely and believed that she was working with the police, giving money. And these people would come to her apartment building, and she would go down and give them a manila envelope full of cash. And you can't tell anyone, you can't tell the police, you can't tell anyone, because this is all top secret. Oh my goodness. All right. The domestic violence epidemic. I know we talked a little bit about Project 1 and 3, and it's been identified in the work of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee. At one of our meetings, I'm co-chair of that committee, St. Clair District School Board was bringing forward a motion where they're going to introduce domestic violence education to adolescent males in phys ed classes. I think they're aiming to teach 15-year-olds, if I recall properly. When I heard that, we commenced discussions with them to use our school resource officers that we have at Lambton and get them into the school. And I said, I don't think it should be just training adolescent males. I think that we need to train everyone and raise this awareness of this epidemic. We're seeing female people assaulting male people in domestic relationships. I get that traditionally it's been the other way around, but it certainly can be the case. And we would like to use our school resource people, and we're in to help raise awareness and do this training. And we've incorporated Project 1 and 3 information to help address that violence and sex offenses at an earlier age to all genders of people, and hopefully make the community safer for everyone to be in. So those are the things I have brought for you.
What I'd like to do is, my understanding is I'd like to bring Greg back up, if I could, please, and I'll open it up for any questions for either one to do them together. And then at the end, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'd like to ask council to consider a motion to request the Solicitor General, or whoever it is, for the $2 million to continue as they've done. So first of all, let's open it up for any questions to either
Your worship, I think you may have been out of the chair. That has been passed and forwarded on.
Oh, we've done that already? Oh, sorry, then we won't have to do that. Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. I'll open it up now for any questions for Inspector Avery or Mr. Nemchat. Councillor Welsh.
For you. A number of years ago, I recall a project and I believe it was OPP led and it was kind of a wellness check on people or something. Is that similar to the vulnerable program you were talking about? They would go in and yes, maybe help people who maybe needed things that weren't police related, but connect them with all of the appropriate resources in the community.
That would be the MSERV program. We had someone that needed a wellness check or someone that was, could potentially be in medical distress. We could check on them and refer them to resources.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none?
Sure.
Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor Field.
Thanks, through you. I've had the privilege of being on the police board for a short time now. I've seen the information with some of these committees. I had the opportunity to meet with the Solicitor General. We were in Toronto and just happened to have the OPP commissioner there. And when I told him where I was from and he talked about Lambton, I was pretty proud. He was very impressed with Lambton. Inspector Avery, what you've done for leadership and your whole leadership team, your group, I just want to commend you. I know the province acknowledges what Lambton is and what this detachment is. And Greg, your leadership on the board, I just want to thank you for that too. I find it very interesting. I'm constantly telling people it's one of those things. You go buy a red car, you see red cars. And now I'm sit on this board, I see police everywhere. I think they're actually following me. No, I just want to commend you both, but especially Inspector Avery and your whole team there. It is a team effort, and I see that each meeting when the stuff is reported out, it's reported. It's in them. They're talking it, they're believing it, they're living it. And I really feel strongly about this committee. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. And I also want to mention, I did sit on that board for 1 year to get started. And I too am very impressed. And I want to thank you for what you're doing to keep up the good work. Councillor Patel, did you have your hand up?
Thank you, through you. Again, just commending you on all the programs that you have, which is fantastic. The incorporation with the education for our youth is very important. I would love to see that some of these programs, especially the anti-fraud, maybe extend into the elderly, whether it be through Lambton Elderly Outreach and or something that we could hold publicly in Petrolia, and or have speakers that would engage some of our senior residents as far as just some tools that they would have and or the staff that would be able to kind of regulate. I don't think that there's a limit to the education, expanding in all aspects. So good job on the programs, and I would love to see the funding expand for the entire community.
Thank you. The funding is not really required for that for that initiative, and we have been doing public presentations.
Great.
We have both our CSO, Community Service Officer, and in conjunction with Constable Armis, who's the pointing end of the spear, so to speak, in this program. We've been doing presentations. We always come when we're invited, and I know that they have done a bunch of presentations to elder groups. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Maybe through the Health and Wellness Committee, we could expand some of these communications throughout different committees.
Would you like to make that a motion, Councillor
Would.
Patel? Okay, I'll need a seconder for that, seconded by Councillor Clark. Just so we're clear, Mrs. Pearson, could you read that motion or clean that motion up?
I believe what Councillor Patel, through your worship, is asking for is that through the Health and Wellness Advisory Committee, they work with the CSO officer to bring forward more of this education into our community.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that clear from council? Okay, any discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Your report, the detailed report, well done. And have a great day. Keep up the good work. Thank you. All right, moving on to number 13, we have the community announcements, recognition and awards. You have a motion on the floor. I'll need a mover and a seconder to move it forward. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive as information only the May 12th, 2025 community announcements as presented.
Any further discussion from council? Mrs. Ellsworth, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just that if you'd like to see Rock in the 50s, we have about 400 tickets left.
Well, that's great news.
So the time is now for sure.
Well, that's great news. Thank you. All right. Anything else from council? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion, opposed, that motion carries. That now brings us to the first opportunity for those wishing to address council.
Your worship, we do have two registered components. First registered is Miss Connie Klassen from the Petrolia Lions.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Bills, please state.
I drew the short straw.
For the record, state your full name and address, please.
Bill Fell, 4474 Petrolia Line, and I'm with the Petrolia Lions Club. I'm the past president. And the reason we're here today is we got a letter from the bylaw officer stating that we had to take our signs down for our events. What we're looking for is an amendment to that bylaw to have it'd be like all the service clubs to be able to put signs up for their special events.
Just, I think what I'd like to do, first of all, is just ask Ms. Smith if you'd like to give us an overview of how this came to be, please.
Yep, for sure. So I was contacted by Jessica Vandenberg, who is our county bylaw enforcement officer, asking if several organizations had permits for several lawn signs that were out. As the person responsible for issuing the sign permit, she often contacts me to see if people are in compliance or not. And she listed several organizations, Lions being one of them. And I had replied to her that no permits had been issued for any of the signs that she listed. So as I spoke with Connie the other day and kind of went through the reasons why she would have got that correspondence from Jessica, and that is per our signage bylaw. There are no lawn signs or signs in general allowed on residential property, with very limited exceptions. One being if there is a home occupation at that residence, they are allowed to have a sign that they would apply for and get a permit for, and also around the election. We have a exemption in the bylaw to allow for election signage during the election period. So I explained to her that per the bylaw, it was not permitted, and that best path forward would be to approach council to see if that was something that they would like to consider an amendment to that bylaw.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. I'll ask, I think we have Deputy Mayor Field. Do you have a motion?
Yes, I do. Thank you, through your worship. Thank you for your presentation. And, for me, the signs for service organizations is a no-brainer. It's what I expected when I used to go down the street to see that the fair was coming to town. When the sign went up, the Derby entrance, we all knew. So I do have an amendment. I would maybe just ask.
The deputy mayor is losing his voice, much like you.
Oh,
I get a little short of breath, so.
Am I good to read it, your worship?
Pearson,
If I
please
can-
go ahead.
One thing before, this is similar to the election. This sort of gives the exemption for the nonprofit. The rules and regulations are the same for an election, so go ahead.
Okay. And I'm sorry, that is, we have a mover, your worship, but I don't believe I have a seconder.
And,
Second.
you haven't heard the motion yet. You want to second it already? Okay. Maybe you better read that first and then I'll ask for a second. How's
Okay,
that?
certainly. And that is that the town of Petrolia signage and advertising bylaw be amended to add a section in relation to service club and not-for-profit agencies within the geographical boundaries of the town of Petrolia. 1, an event advertising sign may be erected or displayed 30 days in advance of the advertised event and shall be removed within 4 days immediately following the event. Number 2, event advertising signs may be erected or displayed on private property only if the signs are no larger than 4 feet by 4 feet. The meters are also in there. And the sign height is no higher than 2 meters above ground level. The signs do not interfere with the safe operation of vehicular traffic or with the safety of pedestrians. The signs are erected with the consent of the owner or tenant of the property and no more than 1 sign per property. No service club and not-for-profit agency shall affix, erect, or otherwise display an event advertising sign or permit an event advertising sign to be affixed or erected or otherwise displayed on a overhanging public property, including a town park or facility that is owned or operated by the town, on a utility pole or light standard, which includes electronic display that incorporates in any manner any flashing or moving illumination which varies the intensity or which varies in color and signs which have been visible moving parts of visible mechanical movement. This is, it is correlated as, I'm reading the sign bylaw.
Yeah.
In any official sign or official sign structure, in any location that would be reason of size, location, or illumination, obstruct the vision of drivers, of pedestrians, or obstruct or detract the visibility or effectiveness of any traffic sign or control device or public streets and roads for which are located in a sight triangle, which make use of the words such as stop, look, one way, danger, or yield, or any similar words or phrases, symbols, lights, or characters in such manner to tend to interfere or mislead or confuse traffic on a tree, a stone, or other natural object. And as Councillor or Deputy Mayor Field noted, that is the same wording out of our bylaw for both the signage and also election bylaw signage.
Okay. Now I'll ask for a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Welsh. The bottom line on this, it is waiving giving them the option to continue with their signs. And so I'll open it up for discussion. Any discussion regarding that motion that was just read?
Just confirm there's no,
Councillor Hine.
there's no permit required to do that.
For you, your worship?
Yes, please.
There is no permit required. That isn't something in our, yes, that's correct.
Councillor Welsh.
So this includes, would this include churches and things when they're having dinners or?
Through your
Yeah,
worship.
please.
It did state from Deputy Mayor Field, not for profit.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
We
Mr.
do
Feld.
have a rotating sign at Bull Wheel Bar for the meat raffle. How's that affected?
Yes. Ms. Smith, can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, through you, your worship. That is actually a temporary sign that should be applied for a permit. There would be no cost associated with that. It just basically would allow the planner to comment on stipulations surrounding the safe use of that sign. So if you want to contact me, I could help you with that process.
Cool.
Not your worship.
Okay, just hang on. I think I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion, opposed, that motion carries. Before you go, Bill, thank you for coming to address council. I want to just state to all the Lions present, this is unfortunate how this got caught. We really appreciate what you do for this community. And the problem we get is once you put some of your signs up, we get other organizations doing the same thing all over the place. So we needed some control, but this basically gives us that control. So thank you for coming to address council.
Thank you. And Lobster Fest on the 28th of June. Everybody.
I'll look for the sign.
And I want to mention, I was at the fish fry and the breakfast and both were great. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do, your worship, yes.
This is Sanderson Tebow. Would you like to come to address council? You don't all have to leave. You're going to miss the entertainment. Oh, yeah. Please state your name and address, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Joe Stonehouse from Hogan Pharmacy, 4177 Petrolia Line.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'm here to address and discuss the proposed parking bylaw that is on Council's agenda for this evening. Our main concern with the parking on Petrolia Line is currently the merchants, employees, and tenants parking all day, every day on Petrolia Line. We feel at this time there's no issue with the time limit for our customers. Several years ago, the BIA did recommend that the signage be taken down due to many customers being ticketed while shopping and supporting our downtown. They did eliminate this issue, and we wanted to continue to be a welcoming community to our many visitors and theater patrons, and are strongly opposed to assigning parking hours. The Petrolia Business Association is requesting council to allow the board of directors to review and consult with town administration on the proposed parking bylaw in order to resolve this issue without creating another one.
Okay. All right, I'd just like to ask maybe Mrs. Pearson, just to clarify that parking bylaw we have now,
Sure,
And-
Your Worship.
if you wouldn't mind.
So the parking bylaw right now does have a 2-hour limit for parking in the downtown.
Right.
The concerns were raised to us through our bylaw enforcement officer that 2 hours was simply not long enough for downtown parking to allow visitors and patrons and whatnot to enjoy the amenities that the town offers. So it was suggested that 2-hour limit be expanded to be 4 hours, which allows time for parking downtown, but also it's not a permanent parking solution. And as far as the other, it is not signed. That is something we don't have signs downtown. As Mr. Stonehouse represented, that was something that was requested of council several years ago, and all signs were removed downtown. There will need to be some signage, as we have reflected at the ends of town right now, as well as in some random areas of town, advising that there is a 4-hour parking limit, as we cannot enforce if there is someone who chooses to be an extended visitor, parking for 8 to 10 hours, or if there's any complaints received over that, we can only resolve that issue by having a parking notice in place that advises visitors to our community that you may not just park indefinitely on the town road.
But we definitely need the 4 hours for even theater people
Correct.
to go to the theater, so they're not getting caught. I'll open it up for discussion. Any discussion from council or any questions? So, okay, Councillor Welsh.
Was the business group consulted on this at all?
Through you, Your Worship, I
Yep,
can
go
answer the
ahead,
question.
please.
Ms. Tebow did bring forward concerns to our bylaw enforcement officer, which there was conversation over that, which is where the 4 hours extent came forward, that would be a good compromise for the concerns that had been brought forward.
Okay, thank you.
Not spoken to at all for a 4-hour extension Main Street. That might have been a miscommunication, but I'm not brought forward to me.
Okay, please state your full name and address.
So our understanding through you, Your Worship, is that there were concerns brought forward by Ms. Tebow to our bylaw enforcement officer. In hearing those concerns, that was the resolve that was proposed. I'm not sure if that 4 hours was verbalized to Ms. Tebow, but I understand that the proposed to resolve the concerns that Ms. Tebow brought forward was a 4-hour allotment of time, so that it didn't impair the members of the public coming to visit us, but also would identify the concerns raised by Ms. Tebow about abuse of parking on the main street.
Okay, thank you. Now, again, council doesn't have to pass all 3 readings tonight. If they wish to hold it up, you could do 2 readings and wait.
Your Worship, this is not a bylaw. This is a direction, requesting direction to amend a bylaw.
Okay, but the bylaw is on.
No, Your
for-
Worship, it is not.
It's not on for tonight?
No, Your Worship, this is a direction request to amend the bylaw.
Okay. But that would change the bylaw if council approves that tonight. Is that not correct? What's on the bylaw for tonight for approval? Isn't the bylaw listed?
This evening's bylaws that we have for approval are not related to the parking.
So
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. All right, so just so I'm clear on your request, you're requesting that we negotiate or sit down and discuss this with you before any further action is taken.
Correct.
Okay.
To be part of the process, because, you know, we have the same concerns as brought up by some of the other council members today, that 4 hours is not enough for just going to the theater when we may want to go eat after or go shop before. You know, there's an extended amount of time, and I'm not sure for many reasons that the 4 hours is.
And I apologize. It is a recommendation from administration and it's not on the bylaws for tonight. All right. Does council wishes? Do you want to deal with that now or do you want to wait till we deal with it on the item, which is number 16A?
It does need to go in order of business.
We will wait and deal with it.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from council? Councillor Deputy Mayor Field.
Yeah, through you. So the problem that you're identifying is a small group of people that are parking on the street throughout the day. Some possible business owners, some other apartment owners.
Apartment dwellers, and they consume, you know, parking directly in front of businesses, their own businesses, or where they may reside upstairs or downstairs. I think further discussion should be, you know, before we turn into inviting all these people to come to our theaters and come to our restaurants and our businesses, and there's a time limit.
Okay. Anything else from council? It will be coming up shortly. So if you want to just wait.
And just for clarification, your worship, regardless if you live here or you're a visitor, there is a time limit of 2-hour parking in the downtown area.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anything else from council? If not, thank you for coming to address council.
So much. Appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you. That'll take us to the financial accounts report. We have a motion on the floor, which is 15A. I'll ask for move and a seconder to put that on the floor for further discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive and file the March 8th, 2025 through May 2nd, 2025 general financial accounts.
Any discussion from council? Councillor Hyatt.
Just one question through you, and maybe it has to come back from the YMCA, so maybe it's just for staff to maybe ask the YMCA. In this report, there's 3 months worth of fees related to the YMCA, so the operating fees and the management fees, and there's a significant difference between January 2025 and March of 2025, roughly in the tune of $7,700 from the operating fees. So I was just wondering if they can provide any information as to why those fees might be so different from the months. I could probably take an educated guess, but
no, I think I'll ask either Councillor Clark or maybe Mr. Charlebois, our treasurer. Can you speak to that?
Depends. If I understood the question, is the question the operating fee? I see there's February.
January, I think it's January and March. The difference is roughly $7,700.
January, March.
Operating fees. So it might be just maybe you need to get the information from the YMCA as to.
We could leave it with the treasurer to report back all accounts if that's okay.
Yeah, because if it were $7,700 over 12 months, then that's a pretty significant cost reduction.
Right. No, I'll have the treasurer report that back, please.
So the operating, sorry, just to make sure I understand. So the operating fee for January and March.
Roughly $7,700 difference. So just understanding, try to get an understanding as to why the costs are so varying.
Okay. Thank you. I'll ask Councillor Clark. Now, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to the second B, which is the pecuniary interest from Deputy Mayor Field. And there's a motion there. Please note that Deputy Mayor Field has moved back from the table. I'll ask for that motion. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Patel. I will ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive and file the March 8th, 2025 through May 2nd, 2025 Lambton sanitation accounts.
All those in favor? Mr. Clerk, is there anything? Okay, thank you. And that motion carries. All right, we'll go to 16. We have a report from Mrs. Mandy Pearson, Director of Legislative Services, Deputy Operations Clerk regarding the municipal code to section parking, municipal code to section parking bylaw draft amendment. And there is a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for further discussion. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Clark. I will ask the clerk to read that motion and then I'll open it up for discussion.
Thank you, Your Worship. And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the Director of Legislative Services dated May 12th, 2025 regarding the municipal code dissection process, and that the parking bylaw be drafted to include an overnight parking from November 15th to April 15th, subject to snow events. In the event of a predicted snowstorm outside of these dates, residents shall remove their vehicles from all highways to not impair the removal of snow, and that the parking bylaw be drafted to reflect a 4-hour parking limitation in the downtown core.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. All right, any questions from council? Councillor Welsh.
I would request that we put this particular item off until some concrete discussions can be had with the downtown business owners group.
Would you like a motion
I
to
mean,
table that?
I don't know what you not table it.
If
I
we
don't
table it,
think.
there'd be no further discussion.
Yes, no, I think just defer.
I need a seconder first. Defer or
second it.
table?
Defer.
Defer, okay. Do I need a seconder?
Defer.
Councillor Patel. All right, any discussion regarding the deferred motion? That just puts it on hold?
Bring the whole motion on hold.
But not on the table.
Or it's a deferred motion that gets voted on first. Yep, it supersedes.
Okay. Any further discussion? We're going to vote on the deferred motion. Councillor Hyatt,
Can I add something else to the deferred portion of the motion?
are you looking at an amendment?
An amendment to,
And then we'd have to vote on the amendment and then the other. What is your proposal?
to change from April 15th to April 1st.
April 15th to April 1st.
That's an amendment that can be applicable and
Okay.
that.
Okay, I'll need a seconder, first of all, for that amendment. Is there a seconded by Deputy Mayor Field? All right, so we're going to vote on the amendment first.
Can I share my information on the amendment? when I
Please,
Suggested that. So when I looked at Environment Canada in terms of total climate snowfall, it says roughly in the month of April, in this region, there's roughly 3.5 centimeters of snow that fall in the month of April. So I would think generally that would typically melt and we may not plow it, although there may be a big storm. But with the text we have here about removing vehicles for predicted snowstorms, then I think it would all fall in line.
Okay, thank you. All right, Deputy Mayor Field.
Okay, just a question on the predicted snowstorms.
Oh, no.
How do we predict the snowstorms? Like, do we tell people this is the predicted snowstorm that you need to move your vehicle, or are people assuming that it's not I'm very confused on predicted snowstorms, so.
That's a good point, Deputy Mayor Field. I think it's,
And if we put out something that this is the predicted snowstorm, this is the time, move your car, I don't know, maybe that would come through the town. I'm not trying to be funny, but I feel like I am.
so let's,
Duly noted.
Common sense.
Sorry.
so are we all clear on the amendment? All right, we're going to vote on the amendment. Do you want that
No,
amendment?
I think he
it's
would
a
like
solid
an answer
motion.
to his
All right.
question.
So what,
Or we get,
we're not going to do an amendment to
Want an
that?
answer?
It was able to be included as.
Oh,
the
all right.
consultation
Then
document.
read the motion then with
Uh,
everything in it.
Certainly. So that is for council to request that this item be deferred and brought back with additional consultation, and that in consultation include winter parking be amended to be November 15th to April 1 annually.
And through you,
Go ahead, Dr.
I
Mayfield.
just want to, it was a serious question, because I think we're opening ourselves up to how do we predict a storm that's the one that we have to move our cars. I know it'll likely tell us, but if there's a car there and we tow it and it's during the time that they're allowed to park there, how do we enforce it? So I just don't know how we actually enforce this storm, so.
Just again, this will come back to council.
Through your
Councilor Harris.
worship, Mr. Field, we don't enforce it.
Then why are we putting it in?
Well, good point.
Thank you.
All right, we've heard the motion. I'll call the vote. All those in favor of that motion? Opposed, that motion carries. Okay, thank you. We'll move on now to our Mrs. Mandy Pearson, Director of Legislative Services, Deputy Operations Clerk, regarding strong mayor powers. There's a motion there before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Need a mover. It's moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the Director of Legislative Services, Deputy Operations and Clerk dated May 12, 2025 regarding strong mayor powers now in effect for Petrolia Council.
Any discussion? Councillor Hyatt.
I just have a couple questions and maybe they're for yourself and I don't know if you have the answer, but in the report, section 3.0 and 4.0 talk about delegation of appointments that yourself as a strong mayor can make to either the council or CAO related to hiring and firing of the CAO and setup of the organizational structure. Will you be delegating those or will you be maintaining strong mayor powers on those items?
At this time, I'm keeping all the strong mayors. I'm not downloading anything at this time. And I need more time.
I still have a job.
You still have a job.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, Councillor Hyatt.
Second question, please. Thank you. Related to vetoes and overrides, will we be making an update to the procedural bylaw that requires mandatory special meetings if the mayor uses strong mayor powers for a veto?
I'm keeping all the powers at this time.
So you will call a special meeting if you veto a bylaw or a budget amendment? You will call a special meeting?
I'm still learning on this too, Councillor Hyatt, but everything that's listed, I need more time to absorb it. But I'm still going to keep everything. I'm not saying I'm going to use that. I may never use any of this, but I need more time before I make any changes. These are, if you want to make those changes, you've already done that by sending it to the province. They're the ones that did this. I didn't bring this forward. It was the province that said, here you go, to try and speed up the housing development.
Yeah, so I guess my concern is that even with the strong mayor powers, there's still an option for council to override a veto.
Absolutely.
If
I think,
they do.
yes,
But there's timelines required to do that.
yes.
As in a budget amendment is 10 days. So I just want to make sure that council is given the opportunity to override. So that means we need to, it must be mandated that we call a special meeting if a veto is used.
Everything in the legislation will have to be followed. Yes.
There's no requirement that a special meeting must be called, but I feel like a special meeting must be called so that we have the opportunity.
Mrs. Pearson, do you want to speak to?
Certainly, Your Worship, to answer Councillor Hyatt, there are amendments required under the procedural bylaw in reflect of the strong mayor powers. We can certainly include in their wording around the calling of a special meeting if a veto is requested.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else?
And I guess I just have one last one.
All right, Councillor Hyatt.
It's just related, a lot of the responsibilities for this are related to planning. But from our perspective, planning is the responsibility of the upper tier, I believe. So what's the impact between the lower tier and the upper tier related to the strong mayor powers and planning responsibilities?
I think we can still move it along and move it along faster, but it's the county that puts on the final stamp of approval. We don't, they do. So even though I may say, let's do this and override it, they can still hold it up. That's my understanding. I don't have any authority under the county, other than sitting on as a county councillor. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll move on to fire emergency management. We have a report from Mr. Cousins, Director of Public Safety, Fire Chief, and I know he's not here due to a death in his family. There is a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the Director of Public Safety Fire Chief dated this 12th day of May, 2025, regarding the 2024 Petrolia North Enniskillen Fire Department's annual report.
And I know the chief's not here, but I was going to thank him for that report. I know you've all gone through it in detail. It's well done. Any further discussion, Councillor Welsh?
Just had a quick question. If it can't be answered tonight, it's not a problem. Are, in the incidents response, numbers there, are false alarms included in those?
Yeah, I thought I saw something there of the false alarms, Councillor Welsh. It's, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think from my understanding, false alarms is the biggest issue.
Yeah,
To responses.
It was quite high, yeah.
I don't want to put words into the chief's mouth, but I'm pretty sure that is a
Understood.
continual issue.
Now, we did put fines in place for that, did we not?
Correct, Your Worship. This council did pass a bylaw in regards to that.
Just fines. Thank you. Any other discussion?
What is there?
Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to, we have a report from Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation Facilities, regarding the LCDS downtown sidewalk cleaning. You have a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Patel. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the Director of Public Parks, Recreation and Facilities dated May 12th, 2025 regarding the LCDS downtown sidewalk cleaning, and that the Council of the Town of Petrolia direct staff to proceed with the service agreement with Lambton County Developmental Services for the cleaning of sidewalks in the downtown core from June 2nd, 2025 to August 22nd, 2025.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Mrs. Bullock, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this time, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Any discussions from Councillor Welsh? Go ahead.
I just had a question. Is there, through you, is there a possibility, obviously not for this year, but to have them start this project earlier in the season, just because the theater opens up, and I mean, as soon as the nice weather comes, people start coming to town, and it did look a little shabby for a while.
Sure, me, yeah, go ahead.
I can certainly speak to them and see if they have the manpower to start this earlier. The June 2nd for this one does start just before the next show, but I'll certainly reach out to them.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Field.
Yeah, through you. Just a great organization, and I'm always happy to approve this. I think the partnership that the town and LCDS has is a good one. So,
okay, thank you. Any further questions from council? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. That now takes us to the second opportunity for the public to address council.
Your
Okay.
Worship.
Is there anyone here wishing to address council? Please come forward. Please state your name and address once again, please.
Joe Stonehouse, Hogan Pharmacy, 4177 Petrolia Line. I just had a question, please, for some clarification. If the Petrolia Business Association was going to be consulting with administration, I believe Councillor Welsh brought it up, and then, to be honest, I got lost.
Yeah, my understanding is that you would be involved with those discussions.
Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to address council at this time? If not, we're moving on. We'll go to any new unfinished business. Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the bylaws. I guess I'll ask for a motion to read the two bylaws the first and second time. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. Any discussion regarding those two bylaws? We don't read it yet. I'll call the vote. All those in favor of the two readings? That motion carries, and I'll need a motion to have the bylaws read a third time. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Patel. And I will ask the clerk to read the motions,
And
please.
that is for bylaw number 15 of 2025, being a bylaw of the corporation of the town of Petrolia to appoint members of the town council and town ratepayers to various town of Petrolia committees and responsibilities be read a third time and finally passed. And that bylaw number 16 of 2025, being a bylaw of the corporation of the town of Petrolia to confirm the resolutions and motions of the council of the town of Petrolia, which were adopted up to and including May 12th, 2025, be read a third time and finally passed.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. And I'll need a motion to adjourn to May the 26th, moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the May 12th, 2025 meeting of the council of the town of Petrolia to be adjourned to the next regular scheduled meeting of council to be held on May 26th, 2025, or at call of the chair.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and have a good night.
And your worship, I need you to join me in the throne room for our new stages.
We will do that.